Adolf Hitler, 1889 to 1945. Well, whenever there's a talk about Hitler, there's always a topic following, that is Nazism. So how are these connected? What connects Hitler to Nazism? What is Nazism? We will talk about it. So why is he so famous, or should I say infamous? What did he actually do to be so popular even today? Why is Nazism connected to his name? All will be answered in good time. So let us begin with the first question. Who is Hitler? Hitler was born in 1889 in Austria. He served as a messenger in the First World War and then was promoted to a corporal rank and earned many medals for bravery. Well, by the end of the First World War, Hitler was furious on Treaty of Versailles because it was very unjust for the Germans. Well, all Germans were, but he was especially and very furious and was actually very talented. So we will see what he did about that. He joined us. He joined a small groups of German Workers' Party in 1919, which he later took over and renamed it to German National Socialist German Workers' Party, which was later known to be as a Nazi party. So here comes Nazi word. In short, it was called a Nazi party. So we all know that Hitler was many things, brilliant things, and very, very dangerous person as well. But he was also a fine speaker, brilliant speaker. He could connect to people on emotional level. He could anger them. He could persuade them. Brilliant orator, a mass speaker. He promised to build a nation under the injustice of the Treaty of Versailles and restore the dignity of the German people. Thus, it gained him popularity in Germany. And he had actually understood that the more you are popular, the more you are strong. Thus, he devised a new style of politics. This style is even used today. Actually, it is being used nowadays. That is the mass mobilization and mass rallies. The rallies you see today in politics is a gift by Hitler. I wouldn't say gift, but still something that Hitler brought into action. He understood the significance of rituals and spectacles in mass mobilization. So he devised rituals and traditions that the Nazi parties would follow. That applause, a round of applause after speeches, then the Nazi salute, the swastik. All these were targeted to make him famous. You can see the famous Hitler salute here. This was one of his devised techniques to gain popularity. Well, all these propaganda, Nazi propaganda, gained him the status of a messiah, a savior, someone who had arrived to deliver the people from distress in Germany. Well, actually, he wasn't a messiah. We will learn how. So, all these rise to popularity gained him this position. On 30th of January 1933, the president of Germany at that time, Hindenburg, offered chancellorship, the highest position in the cabinet of ministers, to Hitler. Having acquired this power, Hitler set out to the bad plan that he had in his mind to dismantle the structure of democratic rule. He wanted to do the things in his own way, which I don't think is justified, but he did. Then later on March 3rd, 1933, that infamous enabling law was passed. It gave him absolute power. Power that was vested in Hitler was almost nothing to be seen before. The dictatorship, something that was absolute. Now, what did he do with that power? In one word, I would say genocide. He brought in several new structures of system to rule the people or govern the people, and he also believed that only the people who have the right to exist were the Aryans or the Nordic Germans with blonde hair and blue eyes. Well, from my side, I am ashamed of Hitler, actually. Well, now what did he do with other people? He killed them. He killed them, all of them. The Holocaust, the infamous Holocaust. Between 1941 and 1945, when Germany had almost several acquired several territories in Europe itself, he murdered about 6 million Jews just on the proposition of that they were Jews. He considered them incapable of existence, and they are inferior to him, thus they should not exist. What was this? Such unreasonable actions. Then he also prosecuted the communists, social democrats, trade unionists. Well, they were prosecuted or murdered only because he was afraid that they would threaten his power and would revolt against him, which they might have done if had been given a chance, which was not given actually. Then, apart from them, homosexuals were also targeted. Well, let me tell you, homosexuals and the disabled, the crippled, anyone who was not a fine human being, or should I say, in quotes, a human being like Hitler with all such qualities, was not worthy of living. In fact, he brought uh, the theories by Darwin and Herbert Spencer to justify his opinions. He said that since survival of the fittest, there's a law of nature is survival of the fittest, therefore only the fittest should be allowed to survive. But he ignored that it was a natural selection. He wasn't the one to interfere in it, but he did. So he murdered homosexuals just because he thought homosexuals were not capable of growing German population. He murdered cripples. He murdered the disabled. He murdered the mentally disabled as well. Anyone who could have been, in quotes, a liability to the German empire, he murdered all of them. And on the basis of race, he also murdered the Romanis, the black people, just because he found them inferior to himself or to the authentic Aryans or the Nordic Germans. Well, from my point of view, these all are the symbol of genocide. He wasn't, he shouldn't have been allowed to kill anyone. Now, the genocide, or should I say, the mass murdering of people, sure did cause a lot of trouble. It was a crime against humanity. This was later condemned by several historians throughout the history. In fact, it was also one of the causes for World War II. We will see about the Second World War in this next part. Thank you. That's all for now.